And we are live.
Welcome back, everybody, to another Football Friday here on 305 Takes. We are going to be discussing a trade that we had yesterday in the NFL. We don't get too many of those, so always a good spot. It reminds me of basketball with these in-season trades. I was thinking about it. It would be more fun if football did include more trades because we got a blockbuster to talk about with a player that has been on the top of everybody's minds, especially if you play fantasy coming into this league. That trade, uh, some big ramifications, and especially because he'll be playing in some bigger games going down the stretch. So we'll talk about the Christian McCaffrey trade. And before we get started, we'd like to give a thanks to our presenting sponsor for this podcast, E2G Sports, where you guys can check out all the latest news on the NBA, which just started off their season. More games tonight. We had opening night a couple days ago. The NFL, keeping you locked in on all the news for fantasy, news around the league for the NFL, MLB, and the list goes on. You can check out their website or their YouTube to see all the sports content that you want. Angel, let's get back into it for another Football Friday. And let's first start off with this Christian McCaffrey trade, which broke really at a weird time in the middle of the Lakers Clippers game.
Yeah.
I had turned off that Thursday night football game after Dalton threw his second pick six in the first half. So I was like, all right, there's no way that they can come back from this one because that was tough to watch. But Christian McCaffrey gets traded from the Carolina Panthers to the San Francisco 49ers.
Four picks.
The 49ers give up a 2023 second round pick, a 2023 third round pick, a 2023 fourth round pick, a 2024 fifth round pick.
Man. I will say this. Myles and a couple of other people texted me when the trade happened, but I'll just say, like, bro, I was watching a game. I was watching Thursday night football game, and when the Yankee game just like ended, bro, I turned off everything and I just went straight to bed. Like I was like, nope, I'm gonna put my phone on mute. Like it'll be on, I could get notifications, but I'm just like not gonna pay
I
attention.
won't see it.
I went to bed. I was like, all right, this is it for me. Like at this point, anything could happen. I'll be perfectly fine. And then the trade broke. I saw the news this morning. And I will say this, don't get me wrong. I love Christian McCaffrey, but I'm also like, I like the trade for the 49ers right now, but I do not like this trade for them going into next year because they're doing the same thing as the Rams. F them picks. And look how bad the Rams look. Yeah, their record is 3-3, but bro, they just don't have depth on their team. They don't have depth. And that's what I think will happen to the 49ers this year. And my biggest thing with this whole trade, it's not even about Christian McCaffrey. It's about his quarterback now. If the 49ers do not win the Super Bowl this year, I want all the Jimmy G Garoppolo supporters to show their face and try to find an excuse now. Because he has an elite running back. He has an elite wide receiver in Debo. He has an elite tight end in George Kittle. He has a good offensive line. He has a great defense. He has a great coach. And he's in probably now one of the weakest divisions in the NFL.
Yeah,
What excuse does Jimmy G have now?
Yeah, he's pretty much out of excuses. And for me, I was kind of surprised by this trade because, Shanahan, and even going back to his dad with Mike Shanahan, their whole system is we'll find running backs out of nowhere. We'll make these guys that were
And they
seventh
get
round
rid of
picks.
them.
Yeah, we find these guys that are seventh round picks, undrafted guys, and our system is so good that it's basically just plug and play. No matter who we put in there, if it's Jeff Wilson, Matt Breida, Raheem Mostert, whoever the case may be, we're going to find another guy that's just as good, knows how to hit the hole for us. Trey Sermon last year, I think they drafted him in the fourth round. I don't
Yeah.
even believe he's on the roster anymore. Like they find running back. So I was surprised that they went all in at the running back position. I was thinking, especially because the reports came out that the LA Rams were interested in trading for McCaffrey, which I just don't even see how that's possible, considering the fact that they absolutely do not have draft picks to trade. But apparently they were in the sweepstakes. So originally that made me think, okay, maybe the 49ers just got out in front of it and said, hey, we don't want to have to face this guy. So let's just go ahead and trade for him and add the asset to our team. But McCaffrey, for as good as he is, the question is durability. And,
Yeah. Can he play?
and it's weird. It seems like the 49ers every season are the most injured team. I mean,
Especially at the running back position. Like
I'm watching ESPN this week and I'm watching NFL Live and they're running the games this week and it's 49ers Chiefs and then it shows some stats for the game. For the 49ers, it says 10 of the 11 projected starters for defense are on the injured report going into this week. Like, that's insane. And this is, I would say, since that Super Bowl year, there's been 3 years in a row where they're consistently always banged up. And okay, I mean, you can say, look at the results. They still win games. They still make the playoffs and all of that. But now you're adding a guy that's obviously extremely talented, but has struggled to stay on the field in recent years. And it's like, all right, now we are playing 17 games in this season. You're going to have a later bye after being traded from Carolina to 49ers. And you're going to have to play in games where we're really going to need you to be a workhorse for us. So, like, can your body hold up? If it does, then I think it's a good trade. And I saw a couple of reports that some of these draft picks were given to the 49ers because of the coaches that have left their staff in the recent years, whether it's Robert Saleh, Mike McDaniel, what's the dude, Kevin O'Connell over in Minnesota as well.
Then it does help.
Yeah, so it does help that it's not like actual picks that were given to them based off a record, some more of the, supplemental picks that they were given. It still is a lot of picks. I think you are right to kind of compare it to what the Rams were in last year. The thing is, with the Rams, they went and made an obvious upgrade at the most important position, quarterback. They got Stafford, so that's one thing that's different about this trade. And the other thing is they went after an even more valuable position at defensive end when they went and got Vaughn. Running back, especially in this system, is probably one of the least valuable positions that you can go ahead and trade for. So I think it's a good trade for the 49ers in the fact that, okay, yeah, they are going to be pretty much elite at multiple positions on offense. Being able to run an offense out with Ayuk, Debo, Kittle, and McCaffrey is pretty scary. Yeah. But I don't know if you need an offense like that just to win the NFC West this year. Maybe if it was last year, okay, I would understand. But this year, if you look at the NFC West, I mean, the Cardinals won yesterday. We'll get to that game a little bit later, but I don't have any confidence in them, and I don't see them as a contender. The Rams, I mean, this might be harsh and a little bit of an overreaction, but the Rams might just suck this year.
Yeah.
Like, they might just be a bad football team.
Yeah, we said it. Like, we were like, bro, they might be the worst team outside of the Cardinals in this division.
And then you have Seattle, which, like, yeah, it's a really cool story, and Geno's actually been balling, but, like,
they're playing good.
But they're playing 2 rookies at corner. They're playing 2 rookies at tackle. Like, they might be just an injury away, just like from their season kind of falling off a cliff. But they are really fun right now. So San Francisco, I'm sure, is saying, like, this is our division. The NFC overall is weak. I mean, outside of Philly and Dallas, are you really that scared of Minnesota right now? If you're just looking at the teams that are up at the top of the NFC rankings, okay, you can say Tampa might be coming, but they haven't shown us anything yet. So it is like an all-in trade for San Francisco, but I get that the player is phenomenal, but I just don't know if the position value warrants 4 draft picks.
Yeah, and the scariest thing, all the running backs that have been with Kyle Shanahan so far in the 49ers unit, ever since he's been there, notice this, they all get injured.
And replaced by random.
Elijah Mitchell, Matt Breida, Carlos Hyde, Raheem Mostert. Then I forgot who was the starting running back before they went to the Super Bowl. I know he got injured. I think it was probably Matt Breida or someone. All I know is that every starting running back that goes there, they always get injured. Yeah. So that's where I'm even more scared for McCaffrey, because he only played 10 games in the past 2 seasons outside of this year. So I'm like, Christian, I really think you're a phenomenal player. And obviously, if it does work, Kyle Shanahan and you in this system,
yeah, it's going to look great. He's going to put up numbers. If it works, it's going to work great.
Yeah, if you are going to put the numbers of, like, ungodly territory of what you can actually do, because compared to Carolina, he was very good with Cam, but he got so many touches. Here, I feel like he can minimize the touches and still put up very good numbers.
Yeah,
that's the difference. But we'll see. I mean, all I know is that this trade, like you said, it's all in, and for all purposes.
It's just weird for an all-in running back trade. It almost seems like.
I understand if it's like a defensive end. If it's like a
top Brian Burns, then I would have been like, woo!
I actually would have loved that trade. Brian Burns, Nick Bosa at the edges, that I like more.
And for them both to be young, like that's something you build around. Listen, it's no disrespect to McCaffrey, but it's just like you said, the wear and tear. The guy was the most important offensive player for Carolina outside of Cam Newton throughout his career. and
Yeah,
they obviously recognized it, and they try to get the ball in his hands as much as possible. But at some point, I mean, we've seen it with multiple guys. I mean, Todd Gurley was a top running back in this NFL, and then 1 year to the next, it was gone. It was gone.
yeah,
Fell off a cliff, and then he went to Atlanta, and then that was it. We never heard from Todd Gurley again. Like we've had, and especially in recent years, we've had guys that okay, they're really good, but that position takes a toll on your body, and it's
it
just one
does.
injury to take that first step away, or that quickness, or being able to hit the hole as fast as you were able to previously, and then it's just gone. It's no recapturing. It's not, oh, okay, I'm still a big bodied receiver, you can throw me 50-50 balls. No, it's we got to move on to the next guy that can hit the hole and then play for 2 years, and then we'll replace him too.
Yeah,
So
and
but
McCaffrey's under contract.
and it's like it's a lot guaranteed for the next few years.
Yeah,
So it's super all in, and I was very shocked to see that it was Shanahan that went ahead and pulled the trigger. I honestly thought that it was the Bills all along, just because they are in a position where they don't owe any future picks. They're already stacked. You can really say that the one weakness that they have is
he's running back.
is running back, but I mean they've been using Singletary a lot as a pass catcher. They seem to want to give Cook more touches, so we'll see what happens there. And then the Rams thing, like I get that the reporting is that they were in on him, but I mean I simply don't know what they have left to draft, like to
It
trade.
probably would have been like maybe two players and like maybe two picks.
And I'm pretty sure that the 49ers don't have any picks in next year's draft unless it's super late, because their first round pick goes to the Dolphins.
Yeah, no, they're not gonna have any picks. It's the same thing. I think they might have maybe two.
That's crazy. Like to not have any picks is super wild.
I know first the Rams, now them, but bro, I gotta talk to you about mainly that situation yesterday night before I went to bed, bro. Kyler and Cliff Kingsbury, because bro, that
That
I
was
could
interesting.
the game ended up in the Cardinals' favor, but I could tell you this: that was I'm gonna say this: the Cardinals shouldn't have won that game. They really shouldn't have won that game.
And that little sideline thing where Kyler's screaming at Cliff,
He has no respect for Cliff.
and then DeAndre gets in there and he's still going at Cliff. I mean, it does not look like those two guys enjoy working together at
Not
all.
anymore.
At all. And I mean, the Cardinals, I get that DeAndre came back and he looked pretty good. He looked pretty good. And
14 targets, 10 catches, 100 yards.
and they're so reliant on him once he goes in there. And I get that Hollywood Brown is out for them, so maybe they would have been able to spread it out more. But I honestly thought Rondale Moore was going to have a bigger, factor into the game plan once Hollywood went down, and then they hit him in the first half for a deep completion, and that was it. You didn't see or hear from him again. So I found that to be a little strange on that end, but. Yeah, I hate this Cardinals team, man. I think they're so bad, and like it's just so funny because so they have Quincy Wilson, who's most famously known for throwing the LSU's players shoe in the UF LSU game,
Yeah.
I believe 2 years ago now. So they have Quincy Wilson, who gets absolutely cooked on that route. Like he's not in position at all maybe to make a tackle, but the guy's open. And it just bounces off his hands, and because he's trailing him, he gets the pick six.
Yeah.
That pick six where he dives into the end zone and Dalton is walking away is legit comedy. Like you can't even write
It was
that
the
as a
perfect
comedy.
shot at the perfect moment.
Literally, and he's just full dive into the end zone. That was a crazy athletic celebration to go into the end zone, and then so they get lucky on that, and then Dalton's like, "Yep, I'll just throw another one right to the middle."
That one by Isaiah Simmons, that was actually more impressive. That was
Well,
very
that was a cool catch, but I mean, it was basically right to him. But he
Yeah.
did make a cool catch, and then he still took it back to the house, which you have to give him credit for. But yeah, I had some money on Cardinals -1.5, and I was like, I hate Cliff. Like this was a stupid bet. Why would I ever do this? And then I got the 2 pick sixes, and I was like, all right, maybe I could just turn this off because I don't think anything interesting is going to come from the second half.
And like, you know how many yards of offense the Saints had?
I'm sure a lot. They ran a lot of plays.
They had almost 500 yards of offense.
And in the first quarter, at least before Dalton just imploded, they were moving the ball. That first touchdown pass was a dime.
Easy.
Yeah, that first touchdown pass was an absolute dime right in the end zone over Quincy Wilson, over the safety. I was like, wait.
Yeah, the Saints were actually playing good. They were playing good. So next thing you know, those 2 pick six happened, and then it just went all downhill for the Saints. And I was like, you guys generally did show tonight you are the better team, It's just those two mistakes you did really did cost you the game.
And it just sucks on Thursdays because literally so many people are inactive. They started the game off and they had 6 players for both teams that both were starters on
Yeah,
offense and defense that were inactive for the game. Marshawn Lattimore didn't play. Michael Thomas didn't play for the Saints. Andrews Pete didn't play on their offensive line.
yeah. A lot of guys didn't play,
Yeah, the Cardinals were. We already mentioned Hollywood Brown. There was
and
just
also
there.
they were competing with a bunch of other sports.
Oh, dude! Yesterday was the Equinox. I saw that where NBA, NHL, MLB, and NFL were all in action.
Yeah, you had the Yankees Astros game. Sadly, that ended in a way I hated it. No, not the Eagles. The Sixers. They played
Yeah.
the Bucks, and then you had the obviously the Saints and Cardinals, and then for NHL. Who was it? I forgot the
There's a
matchup.
bunch of games. I think there was like 4 or 5 NHL games. I
Yeah,
know the Panthers didn't play. They played the night before.
yeah, but still, like all of them were playing. So I was like, I don't even think that many people watched the game just because they looked at the matchup. They were like, okay,
In the last couple of Thursday night games have already been pretty bad as it was.
yeah,
So I wouldn't blame people for.
it was just so bad. And then when I saw the worst part, the biggest news of that game was that sideline altercation. Because, bro, that was still to me the craziest part. Because I will say this: when I saw it happen, and then you see it's all bleeped out at the end, like on the replay, that's when I knew I was like, bro, Kyler just flat out does not respect Cliff anymore. Like he
Yeah, he
said,
doesn't like
Cliff,
working with the guy.
Cliff, I do not like you anymore. You and I kind of hate. I think some of it goes back to that contract extension where it's like
Well, the
you
whole
need this much
thing is
study
just
time.
weird looking back at it because they start off the season undefeated. Then they struggle the second half of the season, still make the playoffs, get embarrassed by the Rams in the playoff game. And then what do they do this offseason? Let's extend our head
Nothing.
coach and our quarterback
Yeah.
after getting embarrassed. And then let's trade our first round pick for Hollywood Brown, which looking back on it isn't as bad as it was because Hollywood was putting
Yeah.
up really good numbers with Kyler. I
And
can't be
DeAndre
mad.
Hopkins got suspended. So it did work out,
Yeah.
like in most part.
Yeah, so I can't be too mad at it, but yeah, it's just been very weird. And then they get off to this really weird start. And the thing that was actually surprising to me is that Kyler is like the most mellow guy ever. Like you never see him get too intense, even when he makes these crazy
Yeah.
plays. Like he's just flipping the ball to the referee. Like after he runs all the way back to his own end zone just to get a 2-point conversion. Like he's just a
Yeah.
casual guy. So for him to actually blow up like that, I was like, what is going on over here? And I honestly was thinking if the Cardinals, that was kind of my reasoning for putting money on the Cardinals last night. Because if they would have lost that game, I feel like Cliff has to get fired. Like you
Yeah.
got the 10 days until the next game. Like just smell you later, Cliff. Like, and especially if they didn't score that much, like you're supposed to be the offensive guy or offense sucks. Like, come on, bro.
I think it's
And
gonna
it
be
looks like James Conner might get Wally Pipp there. Benjamin was looking real good last night.
yeah. And right now, man, I think Cliff is gonna be gone real soon. I give it I say maybe by the end of the season, I think he's gonna be toast. If he's not fired by or let go by week 14, I mean he'll stay the rest of the year, and then that first Monday right after the regular season,
Black Monday.
yep, we're gonna see the Cardinals and Cliff Kingsbury have agreed to parted ways. Or they'll say Cliff Kingsbury has been fired as the Arizona Cardinals head coach.
Yeah, and I mean, because of Kyler, there will be they'll have their pick of choices between coaches, and maybe some guys that aren't in the league. Maybe, I mean, there's no way you get Lincoln Riley at this point after he just
You
got
just signed with
yeah, he
USC.
just got the whole state of California to be
Yeah.
able to go be the head coach at USC. So, and remember
But get
the
Caleb Williams.
irony. The irony is, remember Cliff got fired by Texas Tech and then was the offensive coordinator at USC for like 5 days before he became the Cardinals coach.
Which is nuts.
Which is nuts that they hired a college offensive coordinator as a head coach.
Watch them get like Lane Kiffin, and next thing you know, he's gone after 1 year.
Oh, dude, I hate Cliff. I hate Cliff. I would much rather it be Lane because at least Lane is entertaining. He'll say stuff that other coaches aren't. I mean, he made a meme of freaking Nick Saban getting hit by a mustard bottle. Like,
Yeah.
at least he's going to be out here, like, actually living that life. Cliff, like, he wants to live that life, but he just can't back it up.
Oh man, that's always the best thing. But that's Thursday night football for us.
Yeah. So before we move on to the next topic, let's give a quick moment to shout out the sponsor of this podcast, E2G Sports. They're presenting sponsor for 305 Takes and handle all the behind the scenes aspects of the podcast for me and Angel, which has made life a lot easier for us. So always shout out to E2G Sports, the presenting sponsor for us. And a reminder to you guys, the listening audience that checks out the show, as some of you are aware, we're just giving a quick heads up for everybody else. This show is live on YouTube on Mondays at 2:30 p.m. to recap everything that took place in the NFL weekend. Thursday night games we usually cover today on Fridays, but anything that happens Sunday, we'll preview the Monday night games. Some fantasy takeaways after the games, all of that good stuff. Every Monday at 2:30, we'll be live on YouTube, and then as we are doing right now, every Friday we go live on YouTube starting at 3 p.m. We call it our Football Fridays. Get you all the information that you need heading into the weekend, any of the matchups, some of the best bets that we're looking at, some of the bets that we already have placed throughout the week going into the weekend. So, stay tuned every Friday at 3 p.m. for Football Fridays and every Monday at 2:30 to recap everything we saw. See, make fun of ourselves for some of the just awful bets that we placed, like me last week placing, a bet on the Ravens -5.5, and they go ahead and just lose the game. So
Yeah.
that was always fun.
Or
But let's
me
get back.
picking the over on that Cardinals Seahawks game, and it was a
Well, that's more
complete
on the Cardinals, Brett, because they got to like the 9, 35, 37, and just got 0 points. I don't blame you on that one. But let's get back to our regular scheduled programming. And let's start off with some of the best bets of the weekend. It's only right after we make fun of ourselves for placing a couple. Last week was not the best week for me. I had Ravens -5.5. The only one that I really got right was I had Patriots on the money line. I thought they would beat the Browns, which turned out to be right. So shout out to the Patriots for at least making it not the worst betting weekend I've had in a while. But there are a couple of games that I like this weekend. There's one I have already placed. I took Bengals -6. I feel like this is a spot that the Falcons secondary is a little bit banged up. The Bengals are getting a little bit more healthy at wide receiver. T. Higgins looks like he's not going to have any injury designation going into the game. So I like them to be able to throw the ball around on this Falcons defense. The only thing that concerns me is the Falcons currently go into this game 6-0 against the spread this season, including being underdogs last week at home against the 49ers and winning that game outright.
Yeah, it's not a bad bet because I don't think Atlanta's going to replicate what they did last week. Last week I think was an anomaly, and I do want to give the Bengals more credit because their offense is much better than the 49ers. Not to say the whole scheme and everything. I just say the talent that they have with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Joe Mixon. As a collective unit, I do believe they are a little bit better than the 49ers just because of the chemistry they developed last year and that took them to the Super Bowl. So I actually don't mind that bet. One bet that I actually think that's sneaky, I like the spread in the Seahawks Chargers game. The spread right now is 5.
I, Dude, I'm being honest with you. There's two games. There's two games where I like the underdog straight up to win. It's this one, and I sneakily like the Lions over the Cowboys. So I need you to talk me out of either one.
Ah, man. I actually,
Seahawks Chargers I like, but it's more of a bet on I know Staley's going to do something dumb. I
yeah,
know
that's
Staley's
why
going to.
I think 5 is too much. I give it like close to like 3-2. That's where I feel like it could be. So for anyone there, I feel like it's a very solid bet. But who knows? Maybe the Seahawks just score a bunch of points or the Chargers just score a bunch of points. But with the way the actual secondary for the Seahawks looks, they actually don't look bad. One of their rookie corners, he's played like a top 10 corner this year.
Bro, and the Chargers offense is not the same without Keenan Allen. Like I
And
get that
apparently
making
he
him
might play this week.
yeah, and yeah, which they definitely need. And I get that Pat Surtain was on Mike Williams, but he was basically non-existent in that game. He was non-existent in that game. And then when you look at the rest of the offense, like I get that Eckler's good and that they're going to give him touches, but you can only run so many screen passes to the kid before the defense realizes what's going on. And then you look at the rest of the roster outside of it, it's a bunch of Trey McKitties and Josh Palmers, and it's like this is really who Justin Herbert should be throwing the ball to. And it's the fascinating thing to me is like, how do you have Justin Herbert and you just don't have a slot guy that's just super fast?
I thought it'd be guiding him, but it hasn't been anything. So I mean, that's where I was kind of thinking on that one. Because
And
man,
that offensive line, I don't like. I know that they're missing people. Their center went out in that Monday.
Slater,
Yeah, and they're missing Slater. So and the Chargers, they just do weird stuff, man. They
they
just do weird stuff.
yeah, they do stuff to lose games.
Yeah, it's like they don't want to win sometimes.
Yeah. And another bet I like the underdog in this matchup just because the home team they've been on a bad streak. I like the underdog between the Giants and the Jaguars. I think the Giants can very much win this game.
I'm thinking about taking Giants +3. I've been on the wrong side of them, I think, 3 times already this year. I had Carolina stupidly in that week 1 matchup against them. I had the Ravens against them, and I also stupidly had the Packers against them. So I've been wrong on the Giants for 3 weeks. If I bet on them and I'm wrong again, I'm gonna actually be like, what the hell, bro?
You and the Giants should still mix.
Yeah, it's just not a mesh with us this year. It might be honestly a team where I just can't bet if they're in a game. There's a couple other ones that I sneakily like. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I did a teaser when this line first came out. It's moved a little bit, so I took Jets when they were at +1. So I teased
Okay,
that up.
now it's even. Yeah.
Yeah. So I teased that up to I put 6 points on it. So I teased the Jets up to +7, and I put the Patriots in there and took the Patriots from -8 to -2. I mean, I don't understand how that doesn't hit. Like, I don't, especially
The
if
Bears are bad.
the Bears are bad. I think the Patriots one is a lock. And Belichick is such a troll because he's so, oh, we're on to Cincinnati. We're on to Cincinnati. We're on to Cincinnati, right?
No, they're on to the Nets one for this week.
Bro, he gave an 8-minute answer on how well coached the Bears are this week going into this game, and it's nothing but a troll. Like, he sees it on film, like that he's going to win this game by 35 points. It's going to be 35-0.
That's
It's
why I
just,
picked up Tyquan Thornton on fantasy.
I picked him up in pretty much that was the only league I couldn't scoop. I got Ayuk, but because of that. But every other league, I think, and especially how they used him against Cleveland, where they gave him a little.
I
bubble
have to
pass,
think
they
he's
gave him-
going to get at least 10 touches.
Yeah, no, they have to get him the ball. They have to get him the ball. He's their most explosive player that they have on offense. And you even saw last week there was a play where I was watching way too much of this game, but Bailey Zappi was at quarterback, and he threw a slant pass to Devontae Parker, one-on-one coverage. You know how Devontae is.
Dropped, right?
Yeah, it was a little drop, but they showed the replay, and Thornton had cooked his guy on the other side of the field coming off the slant and was wide open. So I think that as he gets more of a chemistry going with the quarterback, and it'll be interesting to see if Bailey stays as the quarterback in New England, but regardless, I think even if it is Mac, that the Patriots are going to realize, like, this really is our best offensive player. Let's try to get him the ball no matter what. So, and he's a guy that has track speed. So I absolutely love that. And sneakily, I think the Patriots make the playoffs. I don't know what that means for my Dolphins, but I think that their defense is legit good. And I don't know when Damian Harris is supposed to be back, but Ramondre is really good. And if you can play defense and run the ball, there's still games that you can win just off that formula.
Yeah, no, just listen to their schedule. Their next 4 games. I'm just going to read them. Chicago, the New York Jets, the Colts. They have a bye week. Then they play the Jets again. So you can see potentially maybe 3 wins.
I say 3. I have to see the Jets beat Belichick before I would ever pick them to lose to the Jets.
Oh, wait, here it is. This is a comment that we got. I'm Belichick. I'll trade Mac Jones to the Panthers and keep Bailey. It's literally tomato at this point. That's true. I agree with that 100%.
Put together a package for Brian Burns and throw in Mac in there.
Yeah.
Say less.
Hey,
bro, I'm doing everything in my power if I'm a GM in the NFL. Like, how dumb can you guys be over here in Carolina? I'm gonna call every day for Brian Burns until he's on my team,
or DJ Moore.
It depends on the team. If I was the Ravens, I'd be blowing them up for DJ Moore, and Elijah Moore, especially if he's going to request a trade. I don't know if the Jets are going to, relent and give into that trade. But if I'm the Ravens, I'm fiending for DJ Moore or Elijah Moore.
Kansas City Chiefs, please go after JC Horn.
Yeah, JC is really good too. Really good. But I don't know how much they're going to strip it. I don't know if they're going to go down to bare bones. Like, I don't know if they're going to become the process Sixers or if they're going to keep some guys so at least the next coach has something to work with.
I think that's what will happen. But to go back to what it said, after the Patriots played the Jets for the second time in 4 weeks, They're going to go to Minnesota. They play Minnesota, Buffalo, Arizona, Vegas, Cincinnati, Miami, and Buffalo.
Ooh, so it gets a little bit tougher.
It gets a little bit tough, but they can easily come out with 9 or 10 wins?
Yeah, and that's not what I was expecting. Week 1, when they couldn't move the ball against the Dolphins defense, that, as we've seen, is not the best.
And Jacoby Jones has actually played some very good football at corner.
Yeah, and I think the offense hasn't been as bad as I thought it was going to be with Patricia and Joe Judge running it. And the crazy part is that everybody was making fun of him for drafting that Cole Strange kid. Remember the Rams video
It worked out.
Yeah, and the Rams were like, yo, we weren't going to take him until the 3rd round. We thought he was going to be available with our first pick in the 3rd round, and the Patriots took him in the 1st round, and he looks good. The Jones kid looks good at corner. Bailey Zappi, who they drafted this year, I mean, I wouldn't say he's good yet, but he's at least playable, which is an accomplishment for a 4th-round quarterback. He's at least playable. It's not like, you absolutely need to, sign a veteran off the streets. You don't have to go back to Cam Newton just because you don't have anything at quarterback. So
you don't have to go back to Brian Hoyer.
Yeah, so it's been a pretty interesting development going on in Foxborough, because after the first 2 weeks, I thought they were kind of dead to rights. I thought, we might be losing some of that Belichick magic.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't look good for them, but hey, I mean, they're playing some solid football right now, so I do like it. So that's why I picked up Tyquan Thornton. I'm starting Ramondre Stevenson in fantasy, mainly also because half of my team is on a bye. Well, 2/3 of my team is on a bye.
Yeah, it's a big week for buys this week.
Bro, I have 6 starters on the bench.
And for some reason, ESPN's fantasy was tripping yesterday and had the Saints on a bye week, like in the middle of the 2nd quarter. They had the Saints on the bye week. I was looking at our E2G, and it said Saints on a bye. I was like,
but Andy Dalton got us 28 points. So
because he had to start airing it out after those 2 pick sixes. I was like, oh, this is music to my ears right now. But I hope nobody that's kind of big time, because imagine you had Kamara. I know he only had 10 or so points, but imagine you had Kamara and you put him on the bench because you thought he was on a bye. Like that, ESPN, come on, brother. People got a lot of stakes on. There's bragging rights on the line, bro.
Yeah.
A couple other bets.
You know who you play this week?
Moy.
Yeah, bro. Moy's off to a good start. I mean, Kyler didn't give him the benefit.
Moy's got a solid team, bro. Moy's got a solid team.
You might have the benefit because Mark Andrews might not play. He's questionable.
Ooh, that would be big time. I still have to scoop up a kicker in that league, too.
I just want to know. I understand for Moy, he has Jonathan Taylor, but how is Jonathan Taylor projected to score 20 when I go, people, look at what he's done this year? I'm sorry. I understand Jonathan Taylor, don't get me wrong, he's a good back, but this year is just not it.
And their offensive line sucks.
Yeah, what makes me think that what happened against Tennessee in the first game is not going to happen again?
Bro, I don't get the 2.5 point spread there. I do. I think the Colts suck. I think the Colts just suck. And especially because Tennessee's so physical and they just want to beat you up for 48 minutes. I don't get how Tennessee's not favored by at least 3, if not 3.5.
4.
Yeah, I don't get the 2.5. I was thinking about putting a parlay of Titans money line and somebody else, but I can't figure out the somebody else yet.
Just don't bet the Giants game and you'll be fine.
Yeah, I'll be good if I just stay away from the stupid Giants.
Brian Dable will just guys, Myles is doing this with us. Just let you know. I'll be like, oh, say it.
You'd be like, oh, no, we like him on the other side. We like him when he thinks we have no shot at winning, because that's when we'll actually win the game.
But I was like, that's all of us every week.
I mean, I'm stupid. It's honestly my bad. It's just bad betting advice, going from taking them against the Packers, watching them beat the Packers, and then saying, oh, yeah, the Ravens, the team that has blown lead after lead after lead. Oh, yeah.
That was just bad. That was just a bad one.
Yeah, they'll cover 5.5 points. Get out of here, bro. But that was just bad game long.
Can't be too mad, but let's move on from betting and go to games to watch. This could be NBA games, other games, but guys, so for anyone who's listening right now, there is a game to watch tonight. Me and Myles are heavily invested into it, mainly for personal reasons. We are Miami Heat fans, and they will be playing off against the Boston Celtics, which is mainly the favorite team in the E2G Sports Network, mainly because all of them are from Boston or Massachusetts.
Yeah.
So that's their team. We have our team. So we're on a very, very small population of Miami Heat basketball here. But that's a game to watch. A rematch of the Eastern Conference Finals, and who knows, does Jason Tatum come back as like saying, "All right, I was injured in that series, let me go out," or does Malcolm Brogdon actually make a difference in terms of ball handling? When I
Well, I
think
also want to see Hero too. I want to see Hero against
Tyler
them.
Hero had a good start, but I just want to see. I want to see the bench actually play good because, bro, the bench did nothing.
Well, dude, if we want to talk about doing nothing, what the hell is our starting point guard? What is that, bro? What is that out there, dude? What is that?
At this point, when Kyle Lowry shoots the ball, I'm just like, okay, it's a miss.
Bro, and it's not even that it's a miss. It's gonna hit so hard off to the right of the backboard.
Yeah,
Like the right of the backboard is going and just fall into somebody's lap. And he does it all the time. Like people go under screens and he's like, bet this is what I've been waiting for all game. I'm gonna throw it so hard off the backboard, you're never gonna see anything like this again. It's insane. It's insane. Dude,
him and Duncan Robinson are really like. I will say this: they are the reason why I have high blood pressure.
Well, Brad, and now it's just like actually like we really traded Lowry and Precious for Kyle Lowry.
We traded Goran Dragic, who came back and played solid for the Bulls.
Played better than Lowry
Played
2 years later, and older, and less fat. But anyways, besides the point, and Precious could be your starting four right now, the position that we've had anxiety about all year, all off season.
Yeah, I mean, but also I can't be too mad because Caleb did play well against the Bulls.
No, I think the team is solid. It's
Yeah.
just that there's a couple of guys that are kind of like
Better now.
they're kind of like anchors on a ship. They're just holding
Yeah,
us in
Precious
place.
has played solid for Toronto. I can't be too mad at what he's doing.
And I
But
love the trade at first. I mean, Lowry's a guy that like you don't want to play against, but when I saw the trade, I was like, I could see him being annoying, feeding into the culture, like making some big shots here and there. It just hasn't worked out. I mean, I kind of miss Kendrick Nunn. I'm sad to say that.
I would have
I love
loved Kendrick. But also after yesterday's game, I don't know if I want Kendrick back because, bro, I understood why Kendrick left because it just wasn't working out. But I was like, bro, you didn't do anything also to like help you because you, Patrick Bevan, Russ, you guys just simply don't shoot when it matters.
Bro, the Lakers team is terrible.
Yeah.
That's worse than that team that he had in Cleveland before he left for LA.
Yeah, so for anyone watching basketball, please do not watch the Laker games. Those are not games to watch unless you.
And my biggest advice, if we're going to be giving out bets, this is my biggest advice. Stay true to it all year. Never, ever, ever this season bet any over in any Lakers game. Like, yes, there might be games where they score 130, but they are going to have lights out shooting because that team struggles to score so much.
They can't shoot the ball. They have a lot of athleticism, but
I think yesterday's over-under was like 232 with the Clippers.
It wasn't going to hit. It wasn't going to hit.
I think they finished at like 205, like 210. I don't even think they got even close to like 215. So that's just my advice for any Lakers game going forward. Do not bet the over.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't bet the over because how many times generally are they going to be lights out shooting?
Oh, I mean, it'll happen because sometimes you just get hot, but I mean, who's gonna do it? Lonnie Walker? And don't get me wrong, I like Lonnie Walker. I just don't.
But he's not a shooter,
and I just don't think he can be the sixth best player on a championship team. And he's like their fifth best player right now.
Pat Bev now is just launching up threes like he's Curry.
Awful yesterday. Awful.
That. Do not watch any Lakers games, people. Please do not watch them. I'm sorry. They might be entertaining and as funny, but like if you want to watch a good game, please do not watch a Laker game.
The only reason that there is to watch is just how many games are we going to get from Anthony Davis until his body falls apart? Because we came super close yesterday to his back.
I give him credit.
Yeah, so there's so many thoughts I have on the Lakers. And then, for the Heat, I actually am excited to watch this game because we do get to see if Hero can do something against the Celtics, which is something we didn't get to see in the Eastern Conference Finals. Mm-hmm. But then we also lost PJ, who was basically the primary defender on Jason Tatum. So I wouldn't be surprised if Tatum has a big night. I do like the matchup with Caleb on him. I think that they kind of match up, but Tatum is super gifted offensively. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if he has a good game. But just overall, I kind of want to see the Heat like they just kind of looked like they were stuck in mud a little bit. Like everything was kind of slow. Bam still looked a little hesitant, and that's not the best sign, especially after we saw him making jumpers all off season, and
Yeah,
at least shooting from three with confidence. I thought we were going to see that, and then you know Yurtseven is out again for this game, which is like, bruh,
yeah.
what the hell?
I mean, who knows? Maybe we see more of Jovic.
I mean,
Maybe.
maybe. I don't know if they'll throw him in against the Celtics. I
I,
mean, I
I
could see. I
personally,
mean, him and Grant Williams. Like, okay, I wouldn't mind Jovic guarding Grant Williams. Who the hell is Grant Williams?
yeah. Really, who is he?
Yeah, literally. But I mean, I think Brogdon is such an upgrade against Derek White because I thought Derek White was so scared of the Heat in that series. Like the
Yeah,
kid did not want to be out there. Like, and I don't blame him. Those were super intense games. But I actually kind of like a sneaky over for this one because I think both teams are gonna want to like answer back each basket. They're gonna want to go back a basket for basket. It's at 218 right now, I believe. Let me just scroll through. It's the lowest over under game of the night. It's 218 for Celtics Heat, and then it's 219.5 for Pistons Knicks. So I think that it's sneakily a zig when everybody's zagging against this Heat offense, but I, I don't know, man. I did not like what I saw from the Heat in game one, and I personally thought that the Bulls were not going to be as good as they were last year. And then when you add into the fact Levine didn't even play,
Levine didn't
they
play.
lost.
Lonzo is still out. Like
Yikes.
it was bad, but we'll move on from that one. Another game to watch. This was my last NBA game to watch. It is tomorrow, actually, and I think this is a very, very good matchup. It's at 8:30. Grizzlies Mavericks. I like this game a lot. I think this could be a very good game, and I think possibly two favorites for MVP: John Morant, Luca. Like these are guys gonna want to trade basket for basket to show, all right, I'm the best in the game right now. No, I'm the best in the game. And it's I feel like they're gonna go back and forth in this one. That's what I
Yeah,
really do.
especially because I don't think either team has a guy to guard the other team's best
They
player.
don't.
I don't know what guard is going to stay in front of Ja on the
Spencer
Mavericks
Dinwiddie.
roster. Good luck with that. And what's the Dylan Brooks is going to stick Luka Doncic, Danny Green. I know he's not active, but
Yeah.
still, like who are they going to have stick Luka? So yeah, I do agree with you. Where I think they're going to go one because Memphis already wants to play 1,000 miles per hour and just throw alley oops
Yeah.
all game, and Dallas. I mean, how weird was that Phoenix game? Like they punch him in the face in the first half, and then Christian Wood goes 16 straight points in the third quarter, and
Yeah.
Jason Kidd's like, "Yep, I've seen enough. You're not playing the rest of the game."
Yeah.
How
So
weird? How
and
weird is that?
then they lose because a backup went
Damian
off.
Lee.
Yeah. So that was that I do believe they
That's
want
still
to come
such a
back from
weird
that.
sport, bro.
Yeah, I do believe they want to come back from that one, but that was my last like NBA game to really watch. In terms of like NFL, the game I actually really want to see, I'm really down to see the Lions Cowboys game because
Oh, I love that one. I love that one.
I'm excited for that one. I
I
really
love
think that
that
one
one.
could be like touchdown for touchdown if the Lions can get off to a hot start. If they get off to a hot start, I believe they can. But if they don't get off to that good start, I do think Micah and that defense will get whatever they want.
Yeah, I just don't think that they can be in any position where they're down by double digits.
Yeah.
We know that they want to run the ball with Swift and Williams, and just get after you physically. And really, the scary part is it's not even uh, that it's Micah Parsons. It's that it's Jared Goff. You know how scared he gets back there. So if they can keep it close where like they can use Goff and play actions and like he's still a factor, it's not like, oh, we have to pass the ball now to try to get back into this game, then I think it has the potential to actually be pretty close. And
It could be.
it's moved. It was at 7. I thought it was going to move in the opposite way. The spread, I see it at 6.5 right now. It was at 7 all week. I thought it was going to go to 7.5, and if it hit 7.5, I was going to take the Lions 100% and give me more than a touchdown. I was thinking about taking it. I think the Lions are kind of live to win this game. I mean, they're coming off a bye. Swift was a little banged up before the bye. Now he's got a week to recover from that. And the Lions were getting a lot of hype coming into the season with the Hard Knocks and drafting.
Their offense played good. It's just their defense
It's
can't
not
stop
fun.
anyone.
Yeah, their defense hasn't been able to stop anyone, and they were getting a lot of hype with the addition of Hutchinson. They drafted Jamison Williams, who we haven't seen because he tore his ACL, but they only have one win. Like, if they're going to start turning their season around and at least be more respectable and
It has
not be
to
the
be
same
now.
old Lions, like, it's got to start this week. So I don't know if that means they win, but I think that they're going to try to be as competitive as possible at least.
I think it could be close.
Yeah, I do like that game. And then, I mean, it's just, I feel like it's always a classic when they play 49ers Chiefs. I
Oh
know it's
well,
not the same punch because,
this is, last time they played each other was the Super Bowl. So, and then the time before that, I mean, it ended up being close, but the game was so out of reach at like by the third quarter, Patrick Mahomes was just like lighting up the Chiefs, and then they did like score 10 points in the fourth to cut it to like 10 points. So yeah, I mean, it could be.
yeah,
Plus, McCaffrey will be playing. So
yeah. So he'll up. I mean, bro, if Robbie Anderson was active for the Cardinals after just being traded there, I mean, there's no way that Christian McCaffrey's not active. I don't know how much of a role he'll play in the game plan, but he'll at least be in uniform. We'll get to see him in his first time in a San Francisco 49ers uniform. It is crazy that it did come full circle with his dad being a wide receiver, being coached by the offensive coordinator, Mike Shanahan, in
yeah,
San Francisco, and now their two sons are going to be coached and playing for the San Francisco 49ers. So
yeah.
it
Mike
is
Shanahan
interesting.
coach Ed McCaffrey, and now Kyle Shanahan is coaching Christian
Christian.
McCaffrey.
Yeah, and Christian went to Stanford, so he's more familiar with the West Coast. So maybe this is the spark he needed to rejuvenate a little bit. But going throughout the week, there are some college games that I am a little bit interested in this week. I know that. I know that I don't think that we'll see another game like Alabama Tennessee because that game was
One,
off the
yeah,
rocker last week, and for them to send off the fireworks right after they get the victory at the field goal post to be kidnapped from the stadium, I thought was just classic college football. But UCLA Oregon, I think it's going to be a really fun game. 3:30 tomorrow.
could be.
DTR, the quarterback over at UCLA, has been phenomenal this year. So I think there are some fun matchups in college, but it's just there's just so much going on now. Like now we're in full swing. You
All
got
sports.
yeah, we got NFL is in smack dab in the middle of their season. Like now things really matter. Like, okay, it's not we're getting to know these teams. We
Yeah,
kind of have a sense of what they are and what they're trying to accomplish.
we know who the real contenders are. We know which teams. It's like, all right, most likely they're gonna be the first pick in the draft.
Yeah, and
No,
the NBA it just started. We just had opening night, but even opening night, there was like good games up and
good
down the
games.
schedule. I mean,
And now we have playoff baseball,
we
where the
got playoff.
games. It's gonna come down to the very last out.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. And the thing, and you got a team like the Yankees where people love to hate on them, and then you have the Astros where they were caught with cheating, and it's like, dude, they kind of got away with it, and like I feel like if it wasn't for that pandemic season, they would have really been hated. So I'm certainly not rooting for the Astros. And then on the other side, you got two teams that are like, yo, I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm actually like low key rooting for the Phillies because I do want to see Bryce win a ring. Or I mean, I
I'd
know
be down for the Padres just because they haven't won one before.
yeah, they haven't won one, so that would be nice. But we'll see. That's a good thing about now. I mean, bro, all the sports are starting, and then for anyone that doesn't know, there's one day I know I sent it to Miles.
Oh,
We're just
it's
like
November. I think
yeah,
it's 3 weeks from this weekend.
yeah.
It's
So
November.
anyone, if you want to know, please hit us up in the comments. I will share that link of one guy who said from like 5 a.m. to like 11 o'clock at night, you just have all sports
It's every hour something else is starting.
every hour.
Every single hour, whether it's the World Cup in the morning from Qatar to all the way down to the Sunday night
Yeah,
football.
it's like there's so many different games on it. So for anyone, if you are interested, please hit us up. I'll drop the link in it. I know I sent it to Miles. I sent it to a couple of other people because it's just
No, it's insane. Like
that's like
you
an
are not
Iron Man challenge.
you are not going to feel good about yourself if you sit in front of the couch for that long. Like you're going
Yeah,
to be like, bro, I'm a gross human being.
yeah. Oh man, that was awesome. But I think guys, we gotta go because both me and Miles have to take care of some stuff. I know because one, Miles will actually be at the game, so
I'll
I'm
be
gonna make sure
down at
Miles
the
gets
arena.
there on time.
Yes, sir. I'm trying to get out there as soon as possible. Thank you guys as always for listening, though. We'll be back next week, Monday, to recap everything we saw in the NFL, and back again a week from now for another Football Friday here on 305 Tapes. And thank you guys as always for listening. Appreciate you guys. See you on Monday at 2:30. Peace.